on social media for 2 days. Bucky, you know how it goes. He lost the MVP race. He went from first to third overnight just like that. That's what happens when you're in a close race. That's what happens when things are neck and neck, head to head. You got to keep your foot on the gas. So many people may say, Acho, it's only week 9 or whatever the case may be. You still have several games left. Understand this. Pressure makes diamonds. Pressure also bursts pipes. We've seen the pressure make Russell Wilson put some diamonds out there. Against the Patriots, 3+ touchdowns. Against the Falcons, nearly a perfect game. But we've also seen the pressure burst pipes. Against the Cardinals, 3 interceptions. Yesterday, 2 interceptions, but 4 total turnovers. Russell Wilson is having a lot on his plate. He out there doing his thing. He out there balling. He out there cooking. He's also burning meals. When I look at it very simply. You can't blame the loss the Chiefs have, their current 1 loss, on Patrick Mahomes. Can't do it. Aaron Rodgers has 2 losses. You could blame one of those on him. Russell Wilson has 2 losses. You could blame both of those on him. When you're talking about a tight and narrow race, you have to start to look at everything, find the delineation factors. My last lap, I'm going to leave y'all with a picture because it's worth 1,000 words. It's an image. It's my full screen of the candidates. Y'all look at and digest this. The record's fairly similar, fairly comparable. Passing yards, up, down, fairly similar, comparable. But then you get to touchdowns to interceptions. Russell Wilson has 8 picks, 28 TDs. Rodgers, 2 picks. Mahomes, 1 pick. I look at it like this. This is how I'm going to end. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 8 interceptions in his last 40 games. Russell Wilson has thrown 8 interceptions in his last 8 games. Y'all do the math. Once you do it, it's not going to add up to an MVP for Russell Wilson.
Man, that was nearly a perfect take, except you didn't apologize to me for all the weeks of you arguing me countlessly about this conversation.
I'm sorry, Marcellus, Wiley. That's on me. Big Dog didn't know this one.
I warned you, man. I had to go back to my track experience to read Russell Wilson in this race. We've been here before with Russell Wilson, where he starts off hot and he ends lukewarm. But it's not how you start in life, it's how you finish. And Russell Wilson, 2015, 2018, 2019, already warned us, and I tried to warn my man Acho. Russell Wilson was going to put up some games that made you say, ew. If you guys can't see it in me right now because of the abundance of muscle and fat that I have right now, I used to be a track star. Yes, I did. Bucky was a track star even later in his life than I was. But the point of it is, I used to study the sport as well. And I did know that Ben Johnson was always going to beat Carl Lewis out them blocks. But I did know you better keep watching that race because Carl Lewis is coming at the end. I did know that Justin Gatlin could get out, too, on Usain Bolt. But I did know keep watching that race because Usain Bolt was coming. I did know that Russell Wilson could get out the blocks. But I did know that somebody, I don't even care who, I just said the field was going to be able to catch up in this race. Russell Wilson, what is going on? You talk about him having the 3+ turnover games. Only 2 MVPs since 2000 had that. Peyton Manning in 2013 and Kurt Warner in 2001. So here's the thing, Russell Wilson. You got to put yourself in the winning conversation even if you have your struggles. Because when you talk about having those multiple turnover games, and we're now talking about 2 losses with 7 turnovers. Peyton Manning, Cam Newton did that, but Peyton Manning was 2-1, even in those games. Cam Newton, 3-0. So if you're going to go out there and have bad performances, you got to put the makeup on it and at least win the ball game. Russell Wilson is doing himself a double disservice. Not only is he putting up bad performances like we've seen in years past, mid-season, later part of the season, but also they're not winning these games.
Yeah, they're not winning those games. And because the let Russ cook movement is bad for the Seattle Seahawks' health. And I know everyone is going to talk about the defense and how bad the defense is. But what happens when Seattle puts the ball in Russell Wilson's hands and asks him to do everything? He actually hurts them because, 1, he turns the ball over at a higher rate when he's throwing the ball over 30 times a game. That's just what he does. 2, their defense isn't good enough. So as they go up and down the field offensively and it looks great, you're putting a bad defense out on the field, and so you're giving up points, which then only compounds what Russ has to do when he has to try so hard. Russ is in line to be the most, I would say, maybe the offensive player of the year, but he can't be the MVP because they're not going to win enough for him to get the hardware. He'll put up great numbers, 5,000 yards and all of that, but they won't win enough games to put him in the conversation with Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers.
Bucky, I'm mad at you, Bucky. Let me tell you why I'm mad at you. Marcellus, y'all talk about track. I was a thrower, I threw discus and whatnot.
What do you mean thrower?
I was a thrower,
You're a little fat boy.
First
you couldn't run?
I was always,
I couldn't run.
Yeah,
them fat ankles.
His hips was too tight. But let me tell you why I'm mad at you, Bucky. Because on every team, everybody had that one dude that was a sandbagger. Right? They take a couple of the first 8 runs off, and then them last 2 runs out of that set of 10, they turn it on. Bucky, you've been sandbagging your takes. Ooh. You've taken your first 8 weeks on this to come here and give me the best take you've ever given me, Bucky. Because that take you just explained was phenomenal. And yes, that was a backhanded compliment.
Yes,
I can't pay him too much at once. But Bucky came out and he hit the nail on the head. The let Russ cook movement is bad for the Seahawks' health. Fans, when y'all are watching the game, sometimes y'all just look at the stat lines. Oh, well, Russell Wilson is thrown for 28 touchdowns. How can it be his fault? Because a game of football is interwoven. Offense helps defense. Defense helps special teams. Special teams helps them all. When you're throwing the ball at a high clip, you're on and off the field really fast, which means that defense is back on the field. If that defense is not good, hide them. The only way you can hide them is by keeping them on the bench. Hide them. Russell Wilson is out here doing his thing, but he's doing too much. The Packers with Aaron Rodgers, they're running backs. They rank 7th on the season in rushing. The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, they're running backs. They rank 13th on the season in rushing. But the Seahawks, their running backs, bottom 15 in the league in rushing. I say all that to say, Russell Wilson, he got all that weight on his back. But just like when you step under a squat rack with too much weight on your back, sooner or later you start looking around and yell, "Spot!" because that weight gonna make you collapse.
Yeah, man. Look, you just can't carry the weight of 21 other starters in terms of all that pressure that was on Russell Wilson because of the let Russ cook movement. And we knew that the defense was going to let them down sooner or later, and they give up 44 points, the most ever for a Pete Carroll Seattle Seahawks team. So now you see Russell Wilson, first time going to Buffalo. Well, welcome to Buffalo, because Buffalo put a spanking on him, and they put a spanking on him being one-dimensional. Y'all act like Josh Allen had balance. Josh Allen just went out there and said, you can put it all on me and I'll beat you guys, but their rushing attack wasn't even there. Pete Carroll had to scratch his head and say, we had a game plan to stop the run, but they didn't even try and run, really. They went out there with Josh Allen and said, we will beat you guys. Here's a real problem with Russell Wilson in terms of the MVP conversation. And let me not exaggerate this, because if Russell Wilson doesn't win the MVP, he's going to still be a top 5, top 10 player in terms of what he's done this year. Whoa, my bad. You're not number 1. You're number 3, number 5, whatever that may be. He's not gotten an MVP vote ever, and I don't think he's going to get one this year if this continues, because in the last 2 games, 3+ giveaways for Russell Wilson. 2 of those games. Do you know that's as many 3+ or more turnover games than the last 4 MVPs combined? Let's name them. 2019, Jackson only had 1. Mahomes only had 1. Brady didn't have 1 at all, and Matt Ryan had 0. So Russell Wilson, I just don't see how I could put an argument together if you continue this trend, or maybe it's already in concrete. There's no way that Russell Wilson can win.
Yeah, I just don't think he can win. It would have to be a miraculous turnaround for the Seattle Seahawks. With the way their defense is playing, the lack of a running game, the more that you put on Russell, the more it's going to be detrimental to their ability to win games. I think he is maybe a front runner for Offensive Player of the Year, but in terms of being the MVP, recognizing him for being valuable to the team that wins the most, there's no way that he can be that, because this style of play does not work for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, man. Bucky, you with us. You part of the crew. You know that Acho first weekend here, he came out the gate, Wiley, I got all these words, triple entendres. Every word was rhyming and stuff. He's a bishop's son. But look at us now. I'm just smoking this dude. This is nothing. It's like Russell Wilson. Get back out the way, Acho.